Loyalty described as, do you care? And I care, and that's why I'm on this show. Comes a time, here we go.
I'm a sucker for O'Teal, man. I saw that same feeling that I have, that would he filled a void that I didn't even know existed.
It feels so good to, as Ben said, to try to do something about an issue as opposed to complaining.
If you can't help, don't hurt.
If we could just all get out there and throw cream puffs at each other, maybe things, instead of bullets and angry words, it would be better.
When you stop laughing, you stop living.
There's a worldwide surge in interest in mushrooms.
It was deep, man.
It's not that TM makes your mind quiet down there. It already is. We're just stuck up here. We've lost access.
Jumpin' Jack Flash came out by the Stones. So I thought, all right, perfect, man. I'm gonna drive. And I started driving through the neighborhood, and I got a text from Mick Jagger.
People saying that, you know, what we do is non-essential. Well, playing those few gigs that you saw me at felt pretty essential to me.
It wasn't like they were clapping from here. It was they were clapping from here.
My view of things is that death is the last and best reward for a life well lived.
Like it's the strangest of places if you look at it right, you know?
If you're liking what you're hearing, head on over to patreon.com/comesatimepod and get your bus pass for an extra episode every week.
Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome back to another episode, the first episode of 2023 of the Comes a Time podcast. That's O'Teal.
That's Mike, and what a doozy. Wow. We
Kicking
never
it off
know
with a big one.
how they're going to go, but
that's the best part.
Yeah, we had the bassist from Fishbone, Norwood, such a character, man.
He's the best.
Great human, like the way he's evolved. I just can't even, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah,
what a great way to start off 2023.
Yeah, just watch it and listen to it, and he's gonna he'll be back for more. And I'm putting it out in the universe because, right, if you say something, it'll happen. I bet you this leads to us having Flea on, which is one of my dreams.
I even think about that. That might, yeah, that can
I want to talk to Flea. I definitely want to talk to Flea. Norwood's incredible. A fellow board guy. Anything that, man. Just a killer dude. I don't even know what to say. That was amazing.
It's a unique person and a extremely evolved human. He sounds like he started out like an old soul to begin with as a kid, and then just his whole a dude has to write a book.
Well, there's some people that you meet that you're just like, yeah, reincarnation is 1,000,000% real. You know what I mean? Like that guy lived 100 lives somewhere else, but
yeah,
folks, listen, for all of you that have been with us, thank you so much. We're happy to start a new year with you. Go on and review, give a 5-star rating, share the podcast, join us on Patreon, patreon.com/comesatimepod. We got a lot of great plans for this year. We're stoked to be here with you, and keep tuning in because we got great shit coming, man, for sure. Amazing. So thank you guys. Happy New Year. Hope you had a safe one. We'll catch you on the flip.
Man, I'm having one of them days, man, where like I got home, the power's out.
Oh,
like,
shit.
I ran right into my apartment, and as I couldn't get in my building, one of my neighbors texted me. He's like, "Is the power out in your building too?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" And I got in the apartment. It's like no lights, the computer's off. That's why I'm on my phone.
Oh man,
I'm glad your phone is charged.
Yeah, some of the power's coming back on now, but it's not fully on. No Wi-Fi in my apartment.
Shit.
But we're good.
You look good.
We're good for now.
That's right, and that's all we got, man. It's good to see you, man. God, I don't even remember. Last time I remember seeing you was at a NAMM show like 40 years ago.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
was it really that long ago? 40 years?
No, but I mean, it's probably. I'm scared to count these days.
It's been a few.
Yeah,
it's been a
few decades.
It's been
not maybe not decades, but in the 8, 9, 10 years, maybe
at least, right?
That feels like 40.
Could be longer.
That feels like 40 with a global pandemic thrown in that mix. Feels like it.
Yeah, you minus a couple years for just lockdown time.
I found myself doing that a lot, going like, yeah, last year. And it's like, oh, no, that was 5 years ago.
Right.
Or at least 3.
Yeah, totally.
Because
suspended planimation.
Hey, Norwood, apologies. I'm a little sniffly from the old COVID. So apologies if I sound like
well, thanks for surviving.
Nah, yeah, totally, man. I don't think you can get it through Zoom. So sorry if I sound funky. Checking out your surfboard collection back there behind you.
Woo, yeah. It's a late stage passion that, like, I was in my mid 30s when I think I was in my best. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was about 35. And Fishbone, like I've lived on the beach in Santa Monica since like 91 or 92, right?
Yeah.
And I wasn't thinking about surfing. 95, Fishbone did a tour in the Rockies, and we took a band called the Skeletons out. The singer and the keyboardist, who eventually played in Fishbone, but Paul Hampton and Jonas Cabrera, they took me and Angelo snowboarding separately. They took Angelo to the top of it was in Wyoming, the biggest incline on Brain.
I mean, like Jackson
right
Hole
now.
or something, yeah.
Jackson Hole.
Yeah.
The top tip, there was a blizzard at the top. They took Angelo to the top. He has no fear.
Yeah.
He points and goes, right?
He's like, yeah.
I'm a little scary. I'm like, it took me 3/4 of the way up the mountain, and I'm on this catwalk just pop, 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 falling the whole time. And then we get to this big chute, and then like we get to the chute, and I'm going this sheep-boom, sheep-boom, like this. And pretty soon, Jonas and Paul looked at me, and they're like, "Well, we want to have fun today. We're gonna go take off and get some snowboarding in." And they left me. You'll figure it out. Like, so
it's that way.
I'm just and about it seemed like maybe halfway down from where I was at, I'm exhausted from picking myself up in the snow, and I didn't have on proper snow gear. I had on jeans.
Oh shit!
Like weird truck stops gloves and shit. My hands are freezing. My arms are tired from picking myself up. And I laid back in the snow, and I'm laughing at myself. And and the dude came by, and he kicked snow on me with his snowboard. And I looked up, and I saw his body language, and that visual gave me snowboarding. I stood up, I could balance all of a sudden.
Wow.
And I kind of just traversed across the mountain, like I got a little way, and then poof, and I picked myself up, and I went back the other way, whoop. And then I was like, I gotta figure out how to get turn. And about the last quarter of the mountain, which was getting kind of flatter, I started getting it. It took me 3 seasons to really get it kicked in, because I only was going when I was on tour.
Yeah.
Only went once that season, went a couple times the next season. 3rd season, we had this whole thing. John Stewart, our drummer. Now he's a board sports dude, right?
Yeah.
He skateboard, surf, snowboard, right?
Yeah.
So we when we book, we'd be like lift tickets in the package, And we go and we get rentals. We put dudes on the guest list. We get to town early, put you on the guest list. You get our free rentals. Yeah. And dudes would be like, hey, well, I'm closing up the shop. Like, look. And they'd show us mountains, and there was a lot of powder that year. I got addicted.
Nice.
That third season. Anyway, so I'm talking about my whole board.
That's how you're bored.
Journey, right? So I'm addicted. And about 99, Fishbone's playing Mammoth Mountain here in California. Randomly, Flea shows up, right? At the gig. He might have sat in and played trumpet. And he's like, let's go snowboarding tomorrow morning. He had a house on the slopes.
Wow.
So me, Flea, John Stewart, and their girlfriends, 5 of us, all went snowboarding. And this is like my I was getting bold and I was starting to take little jumps, getting a little air.
Yeah.
And natural little jumps. And John Stewart is in the front, Flea's behind him, and John goes, and it's this ramp. It had to be like 2.5, 3 feet high. He just hit it, boom. I'm behind Flea. Flea looks back at me. He goes, you only live once. Boom. And I just followed Flea. That air. I'm like, and I was immediately addicted. I had the most insane day, jumping everything I saw. Now this is 99. I've been running since 97, so I got good legs.
Good, you need
so
them.
we took a break at Flea's house, had hot cocoa and whatever else, probably smoked some weed or whatever. If I was smoking,
yeah,
maybe. And then we went back but at the end of the day, they was wore out. And I was like, hyped up because I was adrenaline on air.
Yeah.
And my legs are strong. And we're leaving, and I look up and I see this park. And it's got all these ramps and all this stuff to play. And I looked at them, I was like, I'll see y'all later. I knew I had no fear in my heart at this point. I jumped everything in the park. I did half pipes.
No shit,
everything.
Half pipes. Wow.
I was doing, and I was skateboarded, and I was shitty on a half pipe.
Yeah.
And skateboard, but this day I did this one thing, this ramp, and it went straight up, and I looked at it, and I'm like, gotta do it. I went and I did it. Went straight up, hit the ground on the other side. I'm going faster than I could ever been on land outside of a car, and I got scared. I was like, I don't know how to control this, so I fell down. I fell back.
Yeah.
Because I was scared, and I hit my head on some ice.
Yeah.
I kept going. But anyway, look, I'm gonna get back to surfing.
That's just great.
After that tour finished, Flea called me up and he's like, I got something for you. I think you're gonna love it. That motherfucker gifted me a beautiful surfboard.
Oh, nice, dude.
And the really cool thing is, like, he gave it to me, and he took me to County Line. We get there and there's nobody on the beach, not a surfer in the water. We walk on the beach, there's one person there. It's fucking Eric Avery, bassist from Jane's Addiction.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
I was like,
the odds. Like three people on the beach.
Yeah.
3 bass players.
Yeah. And 3 bass players, we all, like real bros.
Hung massively,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, dude, and Eric, like I just saw Jane's Addiction at the Hollywood Bowl with Smashing Pumpkins, and I had to talk about it again to him because Eric pushed me into my first wave.
Wow, cool.
He's like, bro, I'm gonna push you into this wave. I do this with my wife all the time. Like, just get it, you know.
Been hooked ever since.
And them brothers gave me surfing.
Yeah,
man,
that's beautiful, man.
How cool.
That's a long ass story.
No, it's it's perfect.
No,
but poetic.
It's just like it's one of the main themes of our podcast. You know, like we're all old enough to have been challenged and even defeated by our addictions, but not totally defeated because we're still alive. But when you could switch to a healthy addiction, like boards, you know, it's like,
to me, to me, it's awesome that like the cool thing is like you lived right by the beach that whole time, right? And it never clicked. And then you go snowboarding and then you look at the ocean and you're like, oh, I could ride this. It's right there, you know? And that's it just changed the whole perception.
Hey, I'm gonna be 100%, because this is bizarre to me when I look at myself. I'm the bassist in Fishbone, like came up through punk rock.
Yeah.
Believe me, people ask me about snowboarding and surfing. I'm like, oh, that's a white boy shit. What the fuck? Where's my head at? I'm already breaking boundaries in my life, and I ain't crossing that boundary over there.
Isn't it funny how that is? Like, you know, the Grateful Dead was one of those boundaries for me. You know, when I look back at it, but we all, like, my whole thing was my way that I saw myself, and me and my older brother Kofi was like crossing boundaries, but then there was just like these hard ones that stayed for no reason. You know, like, no reason.
Thank goodness for growth and development and the possibility that you can, because man, some people stay stuck
and change a perception. Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
totally. Well, I have I have to ask you one question before. I want your opinion. What's more forgiving to bail on, the snow or the water? Like, if you're gonna hit, which one would you rather bail?
I would pick snow.
Let's see.
The water is way more forgiving.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It is way more forgiving. Like, and look, I don't even care to surf gigantic waves, right? Like, I see them dudes like 100-foot waves in Portugal. No, I don't need it. But
40 foot.
I'm like, but you know, there are some breaks where it's kind, and I like, no matter how big the wave is, it's just wild.
Nah.
It'll pummel you. The impact will make you go like, okay, this shit is real.
Yeah.
Tons of water coming down on
That
you,
scares me.
and it'll hold you on the bottom of the ocean, and you're going like, okay, I'm not stronger than this, and you just gotta relax and let it pass, and then go up and hope that the next one you get a good gulp of air before you get. But beyond that, like, it's forgiving. Like snow, you could break something.
I did. I snapped my humerus bone snowboarding at Breckenridge, broke it right in half, and I got plates and screws holding it together. And I want to surf so bad. It's funny. I broke my shin bones in my left leg skateboarding on a half pipe, and I broke my arm snowboarding. And I'm like, all right, I got one more board to try. What am I gonna break?
Down to one.
Could bring it to the water.
That's
bro.
it, man.
Just
I think
start on the small waves. Start on the small waves.
I broke my wrist in 2019 skateboarding, doing almost nothing. But I was in life getting bolder on a skateboard. You know, I was like kind of old to be like bombing hills like that I didn't bomb when I was 17. I was like, early early in the morning. Like I got a hybrid, right? I live in an apartment. I can't like this. You can't run it out to the car from my window. There's plug-ins in these parking lots in Santa Monica, and so I get up early in the morning, plug my car up, skateboard back home. But then I'm looking at these parking structures. No one's in it when I'm up in the morning, and I'll be like, just bombing the parking structures and stuff. Man. I live at the beach, so it's downhill to my home, and I'm like, I started like getting just going further and further up the hill, coming down. That's not how I broke my wrist.
It's the littlest things. I would love to know.
It was like I had a gig that night. Like this is February 16th, 2019, forever like my holiday now. I'm like, I had a gig and that night, and I'm looking at this parking structure. I'm like, if I hurt myself, I'm gonna be mad. I ain't bombing this thing. But I get on my skateboard and I got my route home, and there's usually I'm in the streets, and I'm like, there's some very like almost paved with gold streets here in Santa Monica. It's ultra smooth. I'm gonna take this smooth sidewalk, and it's because it seems like it would be safer. I'm mellow on the sidewalk, and there's this lady walking straight towards me, and I'm like, I'm gonna give this woman all the room she needs. I don't want to ruffle her feathers. And I go to take one out to kind of carve back in, and it's early in the morning, so it could have been dew. It could have been somebody spit on the ground, but my wheels did a little hydroplane. I felt it, tried to get my balance, boom, on my butt. And I put my hand down first. Wrist, upon impact, I knew it because of the numbness. I was like,
yeah.
And it was trying to be safe and trying to be
polite,
courteous.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And
you're right.
No good deed goes.
That was that.
That bone break, that bone break numbness is a unique feeling. You know it right away. Yeah. You're like, Oteil's never broken a bone yet.
Never.
Knock on wood.
Wait. I was very fortunate. Like it was a crazy story of like getting home from there, because I ended up having to skateboard home with a broken wrist because no one would help me.
Oh.
Right?
No one would help you?
Yeah, like it's Santa Monica. So these people that work for the city roll around in these like big ass golf cart like things. And I stopped them. I'm like, yeah, my wrist is broke. I live just right down there. Can I get a ride? No. And this woman like, hey, I just broke my wrist. Can you call an ambulance? No. Like, I hopped on my skateboard and skateboarded home. But like it was set perfect. I did not need surgery.
That's good.
But my doctor, Dr. Patterson, wouldn't believe I'm in the doctor's office after it's set, and he's an orthopedist, and I'm sitting on the table waiting for him to come in after just to check me out. And I look on he's got this a framed magazine cover, Orthopedics, like monthly or bi-weekly, and he's on the cover. And I'm start reading the description and maybe a little bit of the story, and I'm like, my orthopedic doctor was the guitarist in Sha-Na Na.
Oh wow.
What the hell? Oh my God.
Yeah. He opened for Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock.
What? You're orthopedist. Right? You're sitting in You're sitting there waiting for him to come in the room.
I'm like, wow. I'm like, and then it gets even cooler from there, right?
How?
Because we start talking, and I'm like, yo, man, my brother used to watch you when we was
Remember
kids
that
on
TV show?
television,
Yeah, man. We used to see that
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
time.
Like, bro.
The bass singer.
Like, yeah, Bowser, bro. It was, and he's still like, so he asked me, like, what kind of music you play? And I'm started to try and describe. I'm like, well, all kinds. And I was like, you ever hear of a band called Fishbone? He's like, yeah. And he's like, do you know Dwight? I'm like, you know my dad.
What?
My dad was a surgical technician during the Vietnam years.
Whoa.
And they had worked together at Kaiser Permanente.
Oh my God.
What?
In Irvine, or not Irvine, in the valley here. And I'm like, you know my dad.
Wow.
Wow.
My dad was his surgical technician.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Holy cow.
That's a double play of the synchronistic kind. Holy crap. Open for Hendrix, played with Sha Na Na, and he knew your dad. That's really a triple play.
It really is. Yeah. Now, what about the gig that night? Were you able to play?
I did not play that gig, and that was like Think X. That's me, Steve Perkins, Kenny Olson's Kid Rock, Scott Page, who was in Toto, Supertramp, and in '85 he joined Pink Floyd playing guitar and saxophone. Roberta Page, who was in Pink Floyd and at the same time as Scott, and then joined Guns N' Roses, the first woman to be in the Guns N' Roses crew.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other people. El Shankar played with us.
Oh, wow.
Like,
it's a serious
Can I ask you something about, does he smoke as much weed as I've heard he smokes?
I ain't never seen him smoke a thing.
Because I heard that he put down more, but this is in the 70s and early 80s. So that shit might have sailed decades ago, but
I'm sure he has, but he's one of the most beautiful souls. Yeah. I played on his one of his solo records, me and Steve Perkins together, and what's the singer from Korn? Jonathan
Davis.
Davis, yes. There's a video for that. But so I did not play that show, but the wild thing is my wrist was set so well that night, I began to move my fingers, and I thought maybe I could,
Yeah.
And honestly, I think 3 days later, I went and did I do these all improv gigs.
Cool.
Well, the band at that time was called the Back of the Hand All Stars, which is I've been doing these all improv gigs in Venice. That's a beautiful story of that. But I went. It was at this venue called Seaside in Venice that doesn't exist, and I went and I put my bass in a stand, put it on a table, and played it because your wrist is in a weird position. But I put the bass up like that, and I played the gig 3 days later. But 2 weeks after that, Fishbone went on the 311 tour. No, not the tour, the 311 cruise.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I played Fishbone with a broke fucking wrist in a cast.
Jesus.
That's kind of perfect though. It's on brand. You up there just in the cast. That's great.
Yeah. It was, so that 2019 was a wild one, man. Like for that, like I was, I was glad that I could do those. I didn't want to do a whole lot more, I was like, I'm gonna take it easy because if I fuck it up, because I knew I was healing well.
Let it heal up, right?
Yeah, but I did those, and but yeah, and I'm fortunate that I did, like I changed my lifestyle long ago
we talked about that
to a much healthier focus.
Yeah.
And I think that has a lot to do with why I was able to even think that way or have the physical ability to do it, and my whole healing period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Like what led up to, when did that happen when you just were like, all right, we got to change stuff?
Well, it happened in stages, and like I'm gonna say, like, as born in 65, child of the 70s, and very exploratory and free about what came to me musically. One, when Jim Morrison said, I woke up this morning and I got myself a beer, we took that shit serious.
Yeah.
That's how you're supposed to do, right? I'm an ultra funkadelic fan. Like that's one of my first, right? And funkadelic is just drug culture, right? Like as through that time, and I was like not following the Grateful Dead so much, but I was considered myself a Grateful Dead fan, watching Don Kirshner's rock concert.
Yeah.
Right. and every now and again they would show Grateful Dead videos. And me and my brother loved that shit.
Yeah.
Like Casey Jones, like videoed it, whatever, like from that time and whatever I saw of them.
Yeah.
Right. Like I was like, oh shit, like that's some cool shit.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a fucking Pink Floyd, like, Jimi Hendrix, like this drug culture, bro. So, like I was a child fan of Robert Crumb and all of the adult comics. I had an aunt that like she and her husband collected them.
Wow.
And so we go. They had this black light room, Jackie, right? My aunt Jackie, like she had this black light room and had maggot brain painted on the wall like her husband did.
Oh wow.
Jackie was all in.
And, and we little kids be in the room, smell like incense.
Yeah.
Covering up the weed.
And, I'd be reading the Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers. So this is a part of, so I, but like we Fishbone, we all started really drinking together at about, I was probably 15.
Yeah.
And I was a hairy little bastard. So I was the one that like I could go and buy beer.
Believe it or not, I was too.
Yeah.
17, I had long hair and a beard, and I would go and buy beers.
Yeah, go get beer, and dude, we started drinking like cowboys, and like it was. I remember, like first it was like, can you guzzle a can of beer? And it turned into a regular can, turned into a 16-ounce can, turned into.
Then you're shotgunning
eventually guzzling 40. 40.
I could never guzzle
800 like malt liquor.
Wow. Jeez.
Old English.
Woo.
Mad Dog 2020s and shit. Yeah.
Man.
Wow.
To guzzle off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So our whole thing, and Fishbone, like we look. Anyway, look. in the back of my head, because everything is free when you rocking and rolling, right?
Yeah.
Like you get a rider, they stock your dressing room with whatever you ask for, especially a sellout, you get champagne.
Yeah.
You like, you know, and people coming up giving you whatever you want. Like if people want to smoke with you than any other drug that you might want to do. And early in the game, like we Santa Cruz, California, Fishbone encountered Santa Cruz, and the very first time the whole band took LSD, first hallucinogenic journey, you know, like, and drove home from the gig just frying our brains out.
Yeah.
Went to see the Grateful Dead at Chula Vista in '86.
Oh man, yeah.
Took 2 hits of 4-way window pane, bro. It was the most beautiful thing. So, and that was, hallucinogens was my shit, like mushrooms and LSD, like, and it used to just come to me. Be walking down the street, doses, like, fuck that.
Yeah, dude.
Shroom, boom, it just came to me out of like.
You're like Pac-Man.
Yeah, and then one day it was probably like I think it was after the first Lollapalooza. Me and Perry Farrell's on the phone talking. And Perry's like, "Yeah, we're the shaman," and I'm like, "Yeah, we're the shaman." And I got a couple books on shamanism. I didn't finish any of them, but I started taking as much hallucinogens, every bit that came my way. I was and I was frying balls as much as possible. But in the back of my mind through all of this, I'm like, the term sustainable wasn't part of my language, but that's really what I was thinking. Like, this shit has got. I can't do it. And wait, there's this other thing in the back of my head. I'd be having a good time. I will celebrate. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't want to die high. There was something about the whole. I didn't want. I was like, when death comes, I want to know that I'm dying.
Wow. Interesting.
I want to live the experience. Not mistake it for I'm high as shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a unique person to have that.
Yeah, because I don't want to know. I want to get hit by a train or something.
Yeah,
you know?
most people.
I
I'd
think
like to die in my sleep, but that just says what kind of person you are. You want it. That's deep, man. I've never met anybody that said that.
Yeah, that was part of my thought process. So ultimately, Andre Fox Williams, guitarist for George Clinton. He was first the Brides of Funkenstein, and if you think about it, he was that brother wearing the wedding dress.
Okay.
And
yeah.
Rochester, New York. One day I'm having a talk with him about hallucinogens and the possibility that, you know, if you have conceive on LSD, you could create a mongoloid kid, right? And Andre's like, I conceived every one of my kids high as shit on mushrooms.
Wow.
And
holy shit.
Right? And the next time I saw him, Fishbone's playing Rochester, New York, this motherfucker brings the biggest bag of mushrooms I ever seen. It was like a big, you know, like plastic bag of mushrooms, and it's 10 in the morning. He shows up to the tour bus, and he comes on the bus, and we sit in the back of the bus, and I'm eating them one at a time, like popcorn. He ate some. I ate every mushroom in the bag. Like, I don't know how much but it was a big ass bag bulging with mushrooms.
What the fuck?
And just one at a time, I ate. And I used to chain smoke, right? A pack and a half a day was regular. And if I was drinking heavily, which was often, it turned into 2.5
3
packs.
packs. Yeah.
Right. And I get to the point to where I start breaking off the filters of Marlboro Reds, and Camel filters was my thing, but I would smoke Marlboro Reds, break off the filters, and then eventually I'm smoking Pall Mall.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, at this point in the tour, I'm sounding like Miles Davis too.
Yeah.
But I'm eating these mushrooms, and me and Andre is just chatting like we normally would, and I got real present to this thing where we are all making choices all the time, unrelated to whatever we're up to. And it showed up like if you ever made a lampshade projector in school, I did, where you put like cellophane with designs on them, and you go around like what would be a lampshade, and if you spin it, it creates projections onto the wall.
What's up, everybody? This is Mike, and today's show is sponsored by Sunset Lake CBD, a Vermont hemp farm crafting affordable CBD products designed to help with stress and sleep without breaking the bank.
Sunset Lake CBD is a majority employee-owned hemp farm located just outside of one of our favorite places, Burlington, Vermont. For years, Sunset Lake was a dairy farm producing milk for Ben & Jerry's ice cream. We had them on the podcast. In 2019, they diversified and started growing hemp for CBD.
And Sunset Lake CBD crafts products with hemp grown on their family farm and ships them directly to the customer, cutting out all the cost associated with getting on the shelves at stores. They have CBD products for every occasion and offer tinctures, salves, edibles, coffee, smokables, and even for that anxious dog of yours, they have pet products.
Ooh, I need to get some for my dog that's barking all the time. But I'll tell you this, I use these. The Sour Bears.
So good.
They are CBD gummies. I literally, no joke, I take these every night. They help me sleep. And it's almost bedtime.
Yep. And I still, as said it before, I'll say it again. You go to a long show, you come home, my 42-year-old ankles are not what they used to be. And I rub that salve all over them and put them up, enjoy a nice cocktail, and just let it ooze right into those sore bones. And you know what, folks? All you Comes a Time fans, if you check them out at sunsetlakecbd.com and use promo code TIME, T-I-M-E, you'll get 20% off all products. That's sunsetlakecbd.com. Use promo code TIME, 20% off all products. Sunset Lake CBD, farmer-owned, Vermont-grown. Thank you.
Get you some.
So what it was like there was this lampshade on my head that would spin, and then these two choices would come before my face. And I'd choose something, I'd go through that window, and then it would spin again. And me and Andre are talking, and I'm making these choices, and and then cigarettes. And I think about it, I'm like, well, I've been smoking for a while. Like, at the time, I thought it was almost 10 years, but it was a little longer. But I just thought, like, and I chose to go through the non-smoking window. Wow. Right? Me and Andre keep talking, and eventually, like this, I had this buildup of something in my lungs, and I started coughing out this foamy shit. Grabbed the trash can, I'm talking and spitting, and my lungs are clearing out. And I went did sound check, did the show, had bizarre, like the show was amazing, right? I'm frying balls through the whole show. it's this couple in the audience making these hand signs at me. I'm like, I know they ain't gangsters. Somehow I'm like, I think they want me to get freaky with them. And I kept playing the show. I got off the stage and I went to the bar. And at the time, I was drinking these drinks called a Windex, which was like a Long Island iced tea with all clear liquor, add 7-Up and blue Caruso.
Oh my God.
Right?
Wow.
And I ordered one of them and they ran up on me. They like, let me buy this for you. They took me to see the bell tower. It was in a cathedral. We went to this bell tower and it got freaky in the bell tower. And came downstairs. The woman asked me to, because she had my pants as a souvenir. I'm like, hell no. I still have those pants. She called me an asshole. She walked off.
Oh my God.
I went on the bus. I smoked a bunch of weed with the fellas in the back of the bus and I passed out. I woke up the next morning and there's my pack of Marlboro Reds with one cigarette gone from when I smoked a cigarette upon awakening the morning before Andre showed up.
Yeah, man.
I had not smoked. And I packed this, pulled out a cigarette, popped it in my mouth, and this voice in my head said, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, man.
I paused, put the cigarette back in the fucking pack, and that was that. I was done with smoking cigarettes.
That's
right?
the best, man.
And that was the beginning. And then later on that tour, Andre showed up again, and he had this. We played a show with Fishbone De La Soul, and the Goody Mob was on tour.
Oh.
We played a festival with Parliament Funkadelic. Bootsy was there that day. Andre shows up to the tour bus 10 in the morning again, same size bag of mushrooms.
I want to run into Andre.
Right? And I think that was the beginning. Like, I'm not going to go through the whole story, but it was beautiful and then freakish because I kind of went to the depths of my own fears, right?
Yeah.
That and I walked through them with hallucinogens, but that led to me stopping drinking for 3 years.
Yeah. Nice, man.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
But I started back again, right?
Yeah, but a 3-year break is enough time to, like,
clean out.
Yeah.
Get a different perspective.
And I began running after I stopped smoking cigarettes, right? Like, so I had a good friend, Derek Brakefield. He was a bassist in a band called the Untouchables. He was a runner. He was my drinking buddy at the time. Now Derek, where he was my drinking buddy. We'd party, and I'd end up asleep on his couch. We'd be done drinking 4:30 in the morning. About 7 in the morning, I'd crack my eye open because Derek was going through the house and he hit the door and he was going running.
Oh, wow. After partying all night.
And that's what he would do.
You'll do it.
That's what he would do. And I'd be like, whoa.
It probably helped burn off some of the hangover.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Water.
So he would try to get me running when I was smoking, I'd run, I'd blow out all the nicotine and whatever's in my lungs, and then I want to put it right back. And Flea asked me Flea was like, just before I stopped anything, Flea was like, he said, come join the Stud Club. And it was like a bunch of cats that would go up to Flea he had this house. It was a house that Blackula was filmed in Los Feliz. And we'd all meet at Flea's house. And I live in Santa Monica. It's clear across town. I was late every time, but it'd be like D.H. Filegro, drummer from the Dead Kennedys, Pete Weiss from Thelonious Monster, John Frusciante, Dix Denny, the singer of the Weirdos, not Dix, but John Denny, the singer of the Weirdos. And it was a bunch of like, you know, Hollywood scumbags, like, you know, getting together and working out and running. And that was the other inspiration. Nice. And it was one day, like I live at the original Muscle Beach where Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello filmed the movie.
Wow.
And not the Venice, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
The real one, yeah.
Yeah. And so one day I walked out of my apartment and I'm about to go to Flea's house and I look up and like it's all this. I'm like, why the hell am I breaking my neck to go across town? I could just walk out, you know. And I started working out in my own front yard a little bit.
Yeah.
But Derek Brakefield and Flea really gave me my life.
Damn, dude.
You know,
yeah.
In that kind of way. And Derek got me running. He's the one that told me like he was. I wanted to run in the sand. We go in the hard packed sand, and we run. And he's the one that told me. He's like, one day you keep at it, you'll get to this point where you feel your body operating like a fine-tuned machine.
Yeah.
Everything and that day came and it hit me like, oh my God, this is a moving meditation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was doing it and my focus was way out there somewhere. And it was like I was addicted to running. And that is my beginning. It took me till 2006 to really let go of drinking.
Yeah.
Right. And I was on and off with weed and smoking pot I loved it, you know, but I was like, you know, had a voracious appetite for it. I'd smoke weed in the shower. I'd, you know, get up, take a piss at night, smoke some weed, and, you know, like, and all day, every day was how, and because Walt would sit in the back of the tour bus every hour on the hour rolling blunt.
Yeah.
Right?
They always have one guy in the band like that.
Yeah. Yeah. We just sit back, talk shit, watch crazy movies, smoke weed. But it took me like, so I did something really stupid. Really, I regretted it the minute it happened. And like, I beat the shit out of a gangster in a bar. Right. And my girlfriend I got a girlfriend at the time. Like the Crip House was at the end of her block.
Oh.
And I was like, I was paranoid for about 9 months, but it just took that instant for me to be like, I can't do that twice. And I was turning into a guy that I didn't like. That wasn't who I was. I wasn't a violent drunk.
Yeah.
But there was something in me that was discontent, that was, I still don't exactly know what that was. I kind of have a clue, but I didn't go through what it would take to really figure it out, to be 100%.
Yeah.
But somewhere around age 35, I started getting drunk and getting into fights, like clobbering dudes. And it wasn't one time that I was proud of it.
Yeah.
It was like, the people around me, like, that guy deserved it. The last dude, that guy deserved it. I'm like, I had no anger toward that man. I snapped. It wasn't, nothing was cool about it, not one time. I prided myself on being able to use my language skills to get out of shit. And I don't care if you call me a bitch, a punk, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? I ain't got that much to prove.
Right.
You know? Is how I looked at myself, and I was celebrating is if I was drinking so it took that, boom, 2006, done. I was like, And I haven't gotten into a fisticuff since.
What a coinky dink, you know?
Surprise, surprise.
Alcohol
sucks.
It gives birth to many diverse bad decisions. It's just like, man, and at my age now, like it's starting to give me a migraine every time I do it. I can have one tequila drink, but like I had half a beer and I woke up in the middle of the night with a headache, and I was like, half a beer, like if and I was just like, your body's telling you, man, like it's over. Just stop. Haven't you had enough alcohol for like 3 different people's lives already, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but but one thing that happened in '97, right, was we're still on that same tour with the Mushrooms and De La Soul, Goody Mob, Fishbone.
Yeah.
We had a day off in DC, and the band 311 was playing the Capitol Theater with our friends in the band The Urge. We all bailed down to the show, and after the show, 311's having a party on their bus, and it was a rager. Like, SA was DJing, like Knee Deep seemed like was on nonstop, and I'm like, there's hot chicks dancing on the couch and shit, and it seemed like Peanut and Nick, they had like this big ass bottle of Jack Daniels, and they hit drink, and I'm like, fuck yeah, and I'm like guzzling this bottle of Jack Daniels, passing it back, getting a guzzle, 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 and bottle's going down pretty low, and I'm like, I ain't feeling nothing.
Whoa.
And I drank some more, nothing. Drank some more, nothing. And eventually I looked at the bottle and I was like, maybe I don't want to find out what it will take for me to feel something. And I put the bottle down. I walked off the bus. I don't know if I said bye to anybody. I walked off the bus and I walked to my hotel room. And that was really the beginning of that 3-year thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I was like, I did not want to find out how bottomless my pit could be.
Yeah. There is a bottom, though. It seems like there ain't one. But...
Well, and it's funny too. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No. Fortunately, the last fight was my bottom. I didn't have to, lose my life.
Yeah.
Sometimes too, when things like that happen, when like something in the universe tells you, I don't think I want to know how much it's going to take, right? Yeah. Who knows what that caused not to happen? You know what I'm saying? Like there's those moments we always think about the 2 doors, right? Like, and it's that thing of kind of like, how many car accidents do we almost get in that we don't know about? How many like near death things, like how many times does death blow right by our face and we don't know it, right? We always think about the ones that do happen, the fights that do happen. Who knows what would have happened if you stayed on the bus that day? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Those are interesting thoughts. Like when it's like, what did I just avoid? What avalanche just blew by me? You know,
I just avoided death again.
Right.
Probably,
Yeah, and like, just as a musician, as any entertainer, anybody maybe in any so-called exalted place in people's minds, like, people feel like they're doing you, like they want to party with you. They want to give, and giving the party is, it's true generosity, I think, and no one wants to take you under.
Yeah.
Maybe some people, but most people don't.
No.
Most people
they're in it for the story too, and then but you go on the next day to the next town,
There's a point where it's not a celebration anymore. Like I had to really stop drinking to realize it. And Colonel Bruce begged me begged me when I was like 26. He said, you should just not drink one night and just view it from that vantage point where everybody else is drunk and you're not. And of course, that was completely meaningless to me at the time, you know. But then I realized, like, this is their valve, their release valve. So they're like, "Woo, we're celebrating!" But that's your every single day. That's just
every
Tuesday
night
to you, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you know, it's just like, "Hey, man, you know, like you can't like be a part of the party every night, or you can, and then when that tab comes, it's the mortality a lot of times, you know."
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, like I said, like, woke up this morning and I got myself a beer. Jim Morrison.
Yeah.
We took that to heart, and upon awakening, guzzle, guzzle, guzzle.
Yeah.
You know, and it could be tequila, it could be whatever.
Yeah, I remember morning drinking.
You know, and did some dumb shit, like, you know, like some real dumb shit, like, you know, like but you know, it's like, do you know Bob Forrest?
I don't think so.
He was the singer in Thelonious Monster, and he was Dr. Drew's sidekick on Celebrity Rehab. Right, I was Bob Forrest's roommate back in the day. Like, we were both notorious, like, drunks, and he was on drugs beyond what I was ever dabbling.
Yeah,
right.
Wow.
Because I wasn't a narcotics dude.
Me neither.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was
natural stuff.
And you know, Bob has a podcast. I think it's Please Don't Die.
I love that, man. I love that.
And I'm like, you know what? And that's like, we're sharing like this in hopes that I think about Bob, because that's, you know, it's the same intention.
Yeah.
When we have these kind of sharing, is like, no, don't, like, we all gonna hear Jim Morrison and whoever else is, you know, poetic about their experiences with substance.
Yeah.
Who's also
But
dead.
on the other hand, those of us, yeah, exactly. Those of us that make it through, you know, is a part of it is to share and to give the possibility that, like, no, you can walk out of this shit.
You totally can.
You know, there's, you know, because I didn't go to meetings or anything, but I was ready. Like, if I had to go to meetings, I was going to meetings.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, ain't nothing wrong with the programs, with the meetings, with the main thing is that you find yourself and the possibility that you could truly engage with this realm with clarity at some point.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
absolutely,
that's beautiful, man. It's like we have a saying: "It's never too late to have a happy childhood." You know, and that's like when I was trying to deal with my addictions, it was just like, man, when I was a kid, I didn't need any of this stuff. You know, I was happy with my bicycle, my drums, my piano, the guitar, whatever, boards, skateboarding, you know, just like, when can I just like enjoy it? And it's really, it's kind of like the same thing as a born again experience. It's like, you can start over and have that happy childhood. You're like, yeah, I came to it late, but now you're into the boards. Like, give me a board, any circumstance.
Fuck
go,
yeah, dude.
You
No,
know?
I'm like motivated. That's surfing. Like, man, I like that a lot, because
Yeah,
you do
got
get
one
into
board
your.
left, baby.
I got one board left to break my brain. But and you want to know what else too that you said that I love is that idea of like the two doors, right? Because the last time I did, well, not last time, second to last time, third to last time, I did a good amount of mushrooms not that long ago. Everything, all the bullshit, right? Pandemic and all the other everything, you know, and self-doubt and, you know, all that. It came to two doors. Everything summed up to two options, love and fear. And those were the only two doors to choose. And you can't go with one without, you know, they need each other, but it was love or fear. And smoking cigarettes would have been fear, not smoking would have been love, you know?
Yeah.
And it was just this thing of like, it simplified it and put it right in front of my face.
It
was love
binary.
or fear.
It's binary.
Crazy
it's
that you said
difficult.
that. Yeah, those two doors.
Yeah, it's difficult, but it's simple.
Yeah.
If the simplicity of it should encourage us.
Right.
But it's just hard. But when, like you said, like I always have these two. Let me just, we had the mushroom guru Paul Stamets on our podcast, and
oh yeah,
dude, he's the man. And he had an experience like yours where he was a really, really bad stutterer. You would never know it.
Yeah, now he's like, an orator.
Yeah, he took a heroic dose and got trapped in a tree in a thunder and lightning storm. And the lightning, it was just like, wow, so extreme. And he had that experience, and he just like, he never stuttered after that.
He just said, stop stuttering.
Stopped. That's a paranormal, metaphysical, religious, spiritual, whatever you want to call it, experience that's real as hell. Real. Because the results are real. You could say, oh, it was whatever, woo woo. Well, the result was a completely changed life.
Yeah. If I had the good fortune of being like when I smoked weed, like let me just state this. I am not anti-drug. Right?
No, of course.
I'm a completely sober, whatever you want to call it, guy that actually thinks that everything should be legal. And because watching the different places on the planet like decriminalize or legalize everything, substance abuse goes down.
Right. Crime goes down.
And it was one because of what, like, for whatever reason, we knew when Nancy Reagan said just say no, like the conversations that we was having was like, oh, that's beep, beep, signal to everybody's gonna want to do it. It's like, like it, I'ma just say it. We called it like, it's like the Catholic schoolgirl syndrome, right? Yeah. You can't do all this shit and then you got everybody all this, like whatever.
Buck wild.
Yeah. So before I was, out of high school, we all knew that was a cause and effect.
Yeah.
So it is when it was a conversation with George Clinton. And at the time, George was riding his thing. You know what I mean? Like, he's sitting in a hotel room. He's got the pipe in his hand doing the do. And he's basically saying, like, if you knock the wrong out of it, it's not attractive anymore.
Yeah. Right. When it's not taboo.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's not taboo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not getting away with anything. Right.
He was like, he's like, if you feel like if you're dabbling in the darkness, it's just a little attractive.
Hell yeah.
Maybe if you're wallowing in it, immersed in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And and since then, like Portugal's the one that I point to more than anything, but like throughout my touring, I saw it like in Denmark.
Yeah.
And
right.
in the places where they had needle parks.
Yeah.
Right.
Even my first times in Amsterdam, I'm rolling with this cutie, right? And I'm like, all I could think about is like, I want to go to the Bulldog. And she's like, See, like, fuck the bulldog. Like, that's for old people and American tourists. I looked at her and I was like, oh,
That's
shit.
Times Square,
Like,
man.
you got the world at your fingertips, and that's what you think. Like, you don't give a damn. Like, and that was her. Like, she was born into something that where it was nothing like. She's like, we don't look at it like that.
Right.
The youth.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, like, so anyway, you know, like, but through all of it, there's a part of me that knew that when I got paranoid smoking weed, that it was my own bullshit.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I've had to figure out where I was bullshitting myself inside, bullshitting in life.
Yeah.
And if I could find that thing, I could relieve myself of this paranoia.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I knew that my Baptist church, you know, Christian upbringing had instilled me with all manner of fear.
Yes. And taboos.
Right?
Ooh, that's
and
Guilt.
Yeah.
Guilt.
Yeah. And I took time through my hallucinogenic journeys to try to walk through those.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what it's for. That's what it's for, I think, man.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And yeah, and the worst of my excesses when I faced those things with like being freaked out of too much LSD, I'm like, oh, that's like, I had the good fortune of whatever caused me to know that, like, that's all me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you made
That's
it.
my inner dark.
I'm glad you made it this far to communicate this to people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's, you know, a lot of people, don't make it this far. And a lot of people can't really articulate it the way you do, you know? And it's one of my favorite podcasts we've ever done, man.
Yeah,
Seriously.
dude, you're the best. Will you come back and hang with us again?
Hell yeah.
We didn't even scratch the surface, dude.
Yeah.
I know. We didn't like, they probably think, oh, Norwood's coming on, man. They're going to talk about bass and,
no,
you know, it's like,
we're talking about Norwood eating a pillowcase of mushrooms and quitting
or,
cigarettes.
you know, you're like your first time surfing, you know, with your boy,
man.
you and your boys, like the only three guys on the whole beach that's normally just like crowded with surfers. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
Flea's book, Acid for the Children, was one of the greatest. I loved that so much. Did you read it yet, Norwood? Did you check it out?
I have not read it.
He's like, I lived it with it.
You were in it, probably.
Well, you know what? Like, Anthony gave me his book, right? And I started reading it, and I just was like, it freaked me out. I never finished it.
It's your story.
Because it got so, it knocked out. No. I was like, oh shit, like, I don't know this dude.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I knew somebody. Yeah. But I know him, right?
Yeah,
but the book got so nuanced, and I'm going to read them both.
Yeah.
But it just kind of flipped me out for a second. I'm like, oh man, like,
I thought I knew this.
Reading someone you know that closest autobiography.
I could see that. I could totally see that. Yeah.
Like,
well,
it's like, I guess like it's a Christmas dinner under the table or something. I don't know, man.
I think that I really enjoyed that about people. Like, I see things about my wife, who I've been with for 16 years now, and like all of a sudden when she had Nigel, this mom popped out fully formed. Or when she started doing ceramics over the pandemic, and I was like, I didn't know you knew how to do this. And or like, I find out stuff about my parents, or they'll tell me stuff. My dad, when he was older, and he was like, I didn't know my dad at all. You know, it's just amazing.
Right.
We're all like onion layers.
Yeah, man.
Like, no matter how long you know a person, I don't know anybody longer than my dad. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just like, wow. Or my brother, you know, I found out stuff after he died. Like, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's cool but it can really throw you though. You're like, whoa.
I can only imagine. And Flea is so like eloquent and beautifully like he's so
honest.
articulate, and he
Honest.
writes it. The book is written in like vignettes. You know what I mean? It's not like a biography. It's like little memoirs, and the way he does it, man, he writes like Kerouac or Hunter Thompson. Like it's just so like
You
fluid.
need to write one.
Pure.
Norwood.
Yeah, man. I mean,
You do,
totally.
man.
You know what? You know what? You know what? The person who told me one and told me to do it, George Clinton, was like, "You need to write a book."
You do, man.
And I was just like, I actually read his book, and I was like, I would use his biographer because I just liked the way that it flowed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's on my it's in my periphery, you know.
Yeah.
I'm there's a few things that I'm like, you know, somebody just tapped me to do like speaking engagement.
You should. Oh my God, man.
Like,
yeah.
Like and actually, wait, Rachel Havens. Do you know Rachel?
I don't think so.
Richie Havens' daughter.
Ah.
Right? Rachel is the first person, like, you should go do speaking engagements, go to universities, go to this, that, the other, blah, blah, blah. She like 4 years ago or so, maybe more. And this woman just reached out and just was like, yeah, like I want to get you have you do some speaking engagements. And she brought me to San Francisco. I did one.
Nice.
So far.
Nice, dude.
Right? And I'm like, and that only scratched the surface, really, because it was my experience as a fishbone, as a young musician that turned into a fishbone, and you know,
nice.
Which is, you know, I got a lot of stories on that one too.
We got to have you back and
keep coming back and telling more, man.
You know,
but this doors of perception shit is like, I'm like, dude, I had some experience,
man. What you shared with us today is like, how many people, if we had a bigger following, like how many people that could help.
We will.
You know what? The people that are going to get, you know, we have some faithful followers, man, and they love this type of stuff. I mean, you just helped me so much.
Yeah.
How I'm going to talk to my son and daughter now, you know, like it's really great. So I'm glad you're doing it. I hope you do a lot more.
And I want the pillowcase and mushroom guy's phone number, man. I want him to show up in my tour bus. Holy shit. The second time he showed up on the bus, I'd be like, oh no, you again?
You know, yeah, and I
like
think
the Candyman's here.
I think I had an opportunity to thank Andre.
Yeah.
If I never did, I'm gonna send him this podcast.
Right on, man.
That would be
because he changed my life for the better in a way that,
dude,
you know.
Yeah, he's an angel.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We all are.
And
we're angels or devils. The devils were angels too, you know. So
thank you so much. Thank you so much for hanging with us today, man. This was killer. Great way to start the year.
Yeah, it's our first podcast of 2023.
All right.
Wow.
You know what? And hey, you know what? And you know, in this as like, you know, 2020, 2021, like shit show years, but it's like right now, for all the suffering going on the planet, those of us that can look out at 2023 and like I am saying, this is going to be one of the best years for me personally, for my band, for my projects.
Nice.
Like it's like I can see it.
Yeah.
It is the pervasive visual in my head is just wholesome goodness.
I love it.
And you know, and I got a couple things, and like Otil, I sent you the Being Human is a Full-Time Job.
I got it right here.
Hoodie.
Oh yeah,
right. Like yeah, so that's my, so like I've embarked into the apparel realm, right? So, but that phrase is like compassion for mental health.
Yeah, man.
Like that's my way of saying, like, we be like, it is as beautiful as it can be being human. It can be rough for various reasons, and it's actually speaking compassion to somebody who was having a very hard time.
Yeah.
Right. And who had been really kind of jerky to me, and my way of just going like, it's okay, is being human's a full-time job.
I would love one of those. I'll wear that on stage every show, man. That's a mantra to live by.
That's so Ram Dass, man.
I know, it
like,
really is.
But I'm gonna give you my mandate, which is gonna come on a clothing item or a few, is like, my rallying cry is relentless compassion.
Yeah, love it.
I like it.
Right? Like if we can just like, that's in my heart, and can I spread that relentless compassion? So that's coming up in 2023.
Beautiful, man. Thank you.
Just like,
this was the best. It's gonna be hard to top this one. What a way to start the year. We're gonna have to have Flea on to come tell stories about hanging with you. He's like, this dude's hanging out at Muscle Beach now. He's too good for us on the.
Man,
thank you so much, man.
No, and wait, no. Flea is so like, no. He calls me up. It's been a little while. He was calling me up to go run. Flea can kick my ass. Believe me.
Yeah, he's a specimen, man.
Every time, like, he called me and asked me to run the LA Marathon with him. I've been running for a couple decades. I'm like, and he's like, yeah, come run the LA Marathon. I'm like, okay, cool. And he's like, let's go train. Go on an 11-mile run. This motherfucker was way ahead of me the entire time. Like, I can't keep up with that dude.
That's funny.
Like, we doing 13-mile runs through the Malibu mountain range, like this motherfucker's kicking my ass, waiting for me at the finish line every time. Like, I never ran that marathon. I got a staph infection that stopped me, but that's a long story. But dude, he's a beast.
I love him.
Base, he's a beast in life.
Different, man.
I love him. I love him so much, and
and he is relentless compassion. The Silver Lake Conservatory.
Yeah.
And we're together doing the Watts Conservatory of Music to serve, that will be free for everybody in the Watts community.
That's awesome, man.
And if people who don't know Watts, it is like the most neglected community in LA County. Yeah. Like after the uprising in the 60s, like it was nothing. And it's beginning to be something, and we've been a part of it with a friend of mine, David Moss, and we're the founders. And there's a lot more to come in that realm as well.
Nice. That's awesome.
Because I want to bring the kids computer coding, robotics, and surfing.
Sick, dude. The Trinity. That's the Trinity
the
right
bag
there.
Of mushrooms later on after they get on there.
That's the graduation party right there. Yeah. Well, we'll post all of the info where people can find everything that you're up to in the notes, man, because we want to help spread the word.
Dude.
You're amazing, brother. Thank you. This is so cool. Please come back again.
Yeah, man.
I'm coming back. Y'all be lucky to get rid of me after a while. Like, I'll be flying where y'all at, just hanging out.
Perfect.
I wish I could live
in the backyard.
Live in California for just long enough for me to be standing on the street, like taking out the trash, and then here comes Norwood just flying by on a skateboard, totally sober, just like. How lucky those people are! They don't even know, or they
That's
probably
so
do.
Cool,
actually.
man.
Unfortunately, I gave up skateboarding. I can't break my wrist twice. I'm like, if I stub my toe on a skateboard, I'll be mad at myself in a way that I'm like,
yeah, you want to throw it against the wall, man. I hear that.
All in the water now. All in the water. All right.
My skateboards are like art pieces now.
Hell yeah, dude. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you have a good one, man. We love you, dude.
Peace.